Alright everyone, welcome back again to more Tsukihime. Let's continue. Please don't look at me with those eyes. The guilt will eat me alive if you keep doing that.
けど、乗りかかった船だしな。ここで知らんふりするのも寝覚めが悪いし。
I already know I'll regret this later. But even so.
何より、相手はあの通り魔殺人の犯人なんだろ。なら、この町に住んでる人間として、お前の手助けぐらいしないと罰が当たりそうだ。
It's better than turning a blind eye to her stupidly sincere gaze.
それってつまり
盾になるのはお断りだけど、見張りぐらいはしてやるってこと。
There she goes again. What's with that expression? If this was a game, I'd be calling foul. Just look at her. Coming back from the dead, creating tornadoes, and now this?
よかったこれで契約は成立
She extends a hand to me.
やっと自己紹介ができるね私はアルクエイド長い名前だからアルクエイドだけでいいわ神祖って区分けされる吸血鬼だけどあなたはなんていう人
That might be the strangest self-introduction I've ever witnessed. I sigh. Either I've accepted my insane new reality, or I just don't have anything left in me to argue.
当の指揮。あいにく、ただの学生だよ。前もって言っておくけど、本当に何の役にも立たないからな。
I take the woman's, Arquade's hand. She peers at me intently for a moment, then offers her hand again for a shake.
それじゃあよろしくねシキ私を殺した責任ちゃんと取ってもらうんだから
So oddly cheerful, though. She grins wickedly, her left hand outstretched. I must be the first and last person in the world to be repaying someone for their own murder.
ほんと、どうかしてる。
But what else can I do? Against my better judgment, I shake hands with this mysterious vampire, this woman in white. A voice echoes in the darkness. The air is damp. The rotten smell that lingers in the air is eye-wateringly rancid. It's too dark to see a thing. It's driving her into sensory overload. She can't remember what happened to her a few minutes ago. She can't remember where she is. She feels like she hears the voices of men in the distance. She feels like she came here of her own volition. If she thinks hard enough, she thinks she remembers taking an elevator. As the elevator descended, she was suddenly struck with the horrible realization that this wasn't just some goofy urban legend, but a dark and dangerous truth she shouldn't have stuck her nose into. Part of her recalls desperately mashing the emergency stop button. But that was then, and this is now. Humans cannot turn back the clock. Time's arrow is asymmetrical. One may traverse the arrow from left to right, but never the reverse. In other words, by the time the girl realized her folly, she was already in hell. Fearing the dark, the girl presses her hand to the wall. Rotting juice coats her fingers. It stinks of spoiled meat. It gives way to her touch. Through her tears, she realizes it must be a human viscera, but she cannot bring herself to pull away. Her fingers must trace it to find her way forward. There is no other way to navigate this darkness. She can't escape the steady footsteps that have been following her for some time now. She has no choice but to follow the path, her expression distraught as her fingernails scrape through the slimy guts. With every step, she swears she hears the metallic cries of something grinding and twisting across itself within the walls. I take it a vampire, what do you call it, hypnotized him and ensnared them in his little trap and caged them for feeding time later? Sounds about right. It's hard to believe screams like that could come from another human being. The walls are so desperate that they might rupture their throat and lungs. Yet these people have long shed any such concerns and now simply howl into the abyss. But there's little that can be done about their bodies now. Limbless, they are suspended from the ceiling like a mass of bagworms. Oh, I thought they were still... okay. She ignores the pleas of those who are beyond saving and continues to run. She just needs a light. Any light. If she had a light, she could escape. There's a goal you have to reach. That's what the men who guided her down here had told her. They laughed when they said it. So there has to be an exit. She believes it's the only way she can save herself. She knows it's a lie, but she needs to cling to hope if she's to maintain any semblance of sanity. She looks behind her. That's right. She knows she's not alone here. She came here together with her boyfriend. That idiot was the one who suggested it. It's because of him that she agreed it might be fun to try. It's all his fault. She hopes he dies. She hopes he dies soon. She hopes he dies before she does. She hopes his death might lead to her escape. She hopes she'll be the only one saved. She's the special one after all. Wow. I mean, it really goes to show that in desperate situations, how your true character really is once, you know, everything hits the fan, you know? Damn. She didn't do anything wrong. There's no reason she should be suffering. This should be reserved for those who are stupider than her, those that are dirtier than her, or those who are luckier and more blessed. This has nothing to do with her. She's always been good. She's lived a normal life. She's always been normal. This misfortune should fall upon someone else. Until the faint darkness fades. A blackness, dark and deep, takes hold. The girl standing in the middle of it all stares down at her burning body. The appendages she used to feel her way along the wall have burned all the way down to her elbows. When she frantically looks at her body, she realizes her clothes have burned away. Her skin has turned black and charred, cracking to reveal the sinew and organs hidden beneath. The fat of her flesh sizzles and burns with a flame red and hot enough to captivate her gaze. Thank goodness, the woman thinks, laughing to herself. Finally. I finally found the light. Man, I feel so bad for her. She lost her damn mind already. She cackles, a flaming anatomical model taken with madness, a torch of flesh providing light in the darkness. Then... oh. as if burning wasn't enough. A sharp stab puts her out of her misery. Her body burns as boiling blood spews from the wound. As if savoring the warmth of her body, it drinks her fresh blood. This hell returns to total darkness. Having finished its minuscule meal, it crosses through this masterless hellscape. Behind it are countless corpses. A river of flame, indiscriminately swallowing all who wandered the wasteland, whether they be lost humans or the cemetery's dead residents.
ここは寒い。
Breath spills from its lips like smoke. It shambles toward the surface, leaving behind a trail of red in its wake like a twisted slug.
神祖の心臓を我が手に。
Ah, so you're looking for someone like Arkwade. It craves the prey that its footmen discovered mere moments ago.
Hmm, 割といい部屋ね。これなら一晩過ごしても文句ないかな。
Arkwade looks like she's enjoying herself as she inspects the hotel room. I have no words for how this day has turned out.
それで俺は何をすればいいんだよ、具体的に。
とりあえず移動するわ。私の部屋は守りには向かないから、そうね、見晴らしのいい高いところに行きましょうか。
And here we are. Arkwade hailed a taxi on the main street and we drove over to one of the neighboring city districts. From there, we didn't just book a room at one of the most prominent and expensive hotels around. No, Arkwade decided to book the entire top floor just for us. I feel like some A-list celebrity.
おー、高い高い。人間の建築技術ってほんとめきめき向上するわよね。こういうのなんて言うんだっけ？一発千金？日進月歩？まあどっちでもいっか。ほら見て見て式、さっきまでいた路地裏があんなにちっちゃくなってる。
Arkwade happily peeks through the shut curtains at the panorama below. I can't say I'm as excited as she is. This place feels less like a hotel room and more like a standalone citadel that happens to be built on the hotel's top floor. From the sun-blocking curtains to the furniture to the materials of the walls and doors, every last bit is grander than anything you normally encounter. And since we rented out the entire floor, we won't be seeing any other guests. Upon closer inspection, I noticed there's even a TV screen that displays an active feed of the first floor lobby. No matter where I look, I'm reminded that this room is reserved only for the most privileged of people.
今夜はここに隠れましょう。あ、宿泊費のことは気にしなくていいよ。私お金持ちだからおごってあげる。
Clearly. Arkwade speaks cheerfully as she steps away from the window. As amazed as she seemed by the view a moment ago, it appears she's already grown tired of the bird's eye view of the city.
アルクエイド、お前何考えてるんだ。
An exhausted sigh slips out of me.
何って別にいろいろ考えてるけど。
いや、そういうことじゃなくてだな。男とホテルの一室なんて。
I pause before I finish my sentence. I'm only here to watch over this self-proclaimed vampire while she sleeps. I shouldn't say anything that might complicate it even further.
いや、いい。好きにしてくれ。
変な式。いきなり怒ったり黙ったりして予測がつかないね。
Arkwade chuckles as if something's hilarious about the situation. Meanwhile, I'm standing near the door, muscles tense as I keep a watchful eye on the room. Watching her relax, I realize we couldn't be more opposite from one another right now. Fatigue has spread through every inch of my body. I wish I could rest, but I also know that at the second I take a seat on the sofa, I'll doze off. No matter how tired I get, I know better than to let my guard down now.
四季、何か飲む？ここ飲み物がたくさんあるみたい。
Like a little kid in a candy store right now. A carefree voice calls out to me from the minibar. Needless to say, the bottles Arquade holds up are filled with alcohol.
あのな、未成年のくせに酒を勧め。
I stop. Yeah. I have no clue whether she's over the legal drinking age or not, and I don't particularly care to find out either.
後で自分で選ぶからいい。それより、
No matter how exhausted I am, no matter how confusing the situation might be, there are some questions I have to ask her. I need to know what she is. And I need to know how much danger I'm in. I can't even afford to sit on the couch if I don't at least attempt to understand all the weird things happening here.
それより、お前に聞きたいことがある。のんびり休むのはその後だ。
構わないけど、どうしたの？急にかしこまって。
You do realize I haven't let my guard down even once around you, but that aside.
真面目な話だよ。結局のところ、お前の目的って何なんだ？
私は吸血鬼を追ってるだけよ。吸血鬼殺しが私の役割だから。
ああ、確かにそんなことを言ってた。けど、お前は吸血鬼なんだろ？
何？仕切ったらまだ私のこと信じてないの？
嫌っていうほど信じてるから安心しろ。俺が言いたいのは、どうして吸血鬼であるお前が吸血鬼を殺すのかってことだ。それおかしいだろ、理屈的に。
あら、四季は同族同士で殺し合うのは嫌いなんだ。
同族じゃなくても願い下げだよ。あのさ、吸血鬼は人間の血を吸う鬼なんだろ？なら殺す対象は人間であって同じ吸血鬼じゃない。お前が殺すのは、その...
Humans, right? The ones whose blood you suck?
吸血行為と殺害行為は別物よ。ま、それでも四季の言いたいことはわかるわ。同じ種族同士、助け合うべきだって言うんでしょ。けど、吸血鬼は同じ親から派生したものであっても、それぞれ異なる進化を遂げた固有種のようなものだから。人間でいうところの仲間意識は希薄なのよ。
じゃあそのお前が探している吸血鬼はお前とは違うっていうのか？
ええ、私とは別種の吸血種。私が追いかけているのは人間の吸血鬼だから、あなたたちが抱くイメージとほぼ一緒よ。人間の血を吸って吸い殺した人間を使い魔にして少しずつ勢力を増やしていくってやつ。朝の使者覚えてるでしょ？あれが吸血鬼に殺された人間の末路。人間として死んだのにまだ死にきれず生かされているリビングデッド。
死んだのに生かされている。
Those corpses I saw in that alley. In stories, it said those who get their blood sucked by a vampire get turned into one as well, attacking other humans in turn. That's how they propagate and spread. If this goes unchecked, then a whole town could be turned into a stronghold for the living dead.
ええ、この町に潜んでいるのはそういう吸血鬼。私は血を吸うことに執心はないし、彼らの仲間でもない。だから互いに殺し合うことに問題は発生しない。
Arkwade states the words matter-of-factly. I guess there really are all kinds of vampires out there.
今更でゾッとするんだけど、そいつをやっつけるから俺に盾になれなんてことを言ってやがったのか、お前。
ええ、初めはそのつもりだったわ。あなたなんて嫌がっても盾にしてやる、逃げても鎖で縛り付けて散々怖がらせて使い切ってやるって。けどシキと話をしているうちに気が変わっちゃった。
So she was planning to take me by force. Don't think I'll be forgetting about that.
気が変わったってなんでだよ。
私の勘違いだったから。私ね、シキ、あなたに殺されて復元するまでの間、あなたは教会の人間だと思っていたの。それなら敵の居場所を掴んでいる可能性もあるし、戦力としても期待できるなって。なのに仕切ったらまるっきり普通の人なんだもん。敵の棺の場所はおろか、吸血鬼のことをまるで知らないし。そもそもあの連中がこんな無神論者の国に代行者を派遣するわけがないし、そもそも一人じゃ動かないものね。師匠と弟子のツーマンセルがあいつらの基本だったわ。
Arquette mutters to herself as she paces around the room. She's gotten so sidetracked, it feels like she's forgotten all about me.
とにかく私の標的はあなたから吸血鬼に戻ったってこと。それはそれでちょっと残念な気もするけど。
She manages to say such a terrifying thing in the cheeriest of voices. Shit, she definitely hasn't forgotten what I did to her. I certainly deserve to be despised for murdering her, but it's still bad for my heart to hear her talk so lightly about killing in turn. Maybe she really does intend to kill me the second I let my guard down.
真面目な話は終わり？じゃ、ベッドにドーン！
は？
Before I even get the chance to react, she's off. Arquette bounces over to the bed and plops down onto the soft mattress.
気持ちもいいし、日が沈むまで眠るね。あ、シキも今のうちに休んでおいた方がいいよ。吸血鬼は昼間活動できないから、本格的に見張りをしてもらうのは夜になるんだし。
Wasn't the whole point you hired me was to make sure you were okay during the time you were napping?
お前今自分の存在を全面否定するようなことを言ったって分かってるか？
私はいいの。と、そろそろ限界みたい。それじゃあおやすみなさい、シキ。日が沈んだら起こしてね。
おい！
Arquette falls asleep so abruptly. It's as if someone turned off a car engine.
マジか。
Yeah, I'm more amazed you can fall asleep at the drop of a hat. I can hardly believe it, but she's actually asleep. I feel like an idiot for staying next to the door this whole time in case I needed to run. Is this okay? I mean, I want to talk. But is she really okay with this? I was practically taken here against my will, but now I could just as easily run away. And don't tell me she's forgotten. Even if I don't feel the same impulse now.
俺は一度お前を殺しているんだぞ。
So how can she doze off like this with me around? I watch her while she sleeps. Peering closely, I notice the slow rise and fall of her chest as she breathes. I also thought vampires don't breathe. But other than that, she doesn't move a muscle. It's like I'm looking at a painting. The lids of her eyes are closed in peaceful rest. Her eyelashes are long, and her lips are luscious, even without the slightest touch of lipstick. I trace the curve of her plump chest with my eyes, following the line until it meets the flat of her hips like a hill meets the horizon. Her arms are long and slender. She looks innocent yet sensual all at once, a contradiction I struggle to make sense of. Here she is, vulnerably slumbering away in the hotel's royal suite, trusting me, the person who killed her, to be in the same room with her despite us having only just met.
バカだな恋。
She's so ridiculously trusting and honest, I'm frankly a little worried about her. Either way, this is the time to choose. This may be the last chance to turn back. That woman told me to be her shield. But I've had enough of this madness. I'm leaving. I'm done hesitating. I'm staying put. And this here, once more, is where we save our game. I mean, I'm here already. And she seems nice.
約束したからな。
That's right, I did. No matter what happens, I don't intend to break my promises. Arkway is still asleep. I honestly can't tell by looking at her, but she did say she was weakened. She even said she was at her limit earlier. But the real question is whether I should stay or leave. I didn't even have the chance to think on it before. It's quiet in here. We're the only two people in this room, on this entire floor. Even though I'll save wondering if it's rude to count self-proclaimed vampires as people for later.
なんだそりゃ。失礼ってどっちに対して言ってんだ、アホ。
I scold myself. After being chased the entire morning, my body is too tired to move properly. Even thinking is exhausting.
とにかくまずは落ち着こう。
I tear myself away from the door to sit down. The chair I choose is a tall one adjacent to the minibar. I find a bottle of mineral water inside and pour myself a glass.
よし。
The cool water unravels my scrambled thoughts. The wild chain of events this morning had clogged my mind, keeping me from thinking clearly. I should take this chance to carefully decide on my next move.
マジかよ。
It's my second resigned exclamation of the day. The one before was directed at Arkwade, but this time it's aimed squarely at myself. The sound of her gentle breathing brushes against my ears, pulling my focus away. What is wrong with me? What am I doing? Getting all excited and worked up over her at a time like this. I need to leave the room. This must be because the fear that gripped me in the alley still hasn't let me go. I just need to take a deep breath in the hallway, and I'll be fine. This strange heat in my chest will go away.
本当に貸し切ってる。
We really did book the entire floor. There's not a single other guest or staff wandering the top floor. I mean, look at the hall too, like damn. Arkway is currently sleeping in the corner room at the end of the hallway. We've got a clear view of whatever would come our way, but it also means we're that much further from the elevators.
そういえば学校。
It's a little past 11 a.m. now. I've doubtlessly already been marked as absent. It'll be a lot of trouble if the school calls the mansion, but there's little I can do to prevent that. Akiha's definitely gonna have a thing or two to say about this, but this isn't the time to worry about that.
望み薄だけど、有彦にメールしとくか。
I don't feel good, so I'm skipping. Make up some excuse for me if you can. I send him a loose reason for my absence and hope that he'll rise to my call for help. I'm not begging him to work any miracles, just hoping he can figure something out if the opportunity presents itself. If only I could tell him more about what's happening.
いやいや、それこそ救急車案件でしょ。
There's no way to explain the situation without sounding like a lunatic. Arihiko doesn't need to know more than this.
さて。
Thinking of a familiar face calmed me down a little. It's time for me to return to the room where the self-proclaimed vampire slumbers.
失礼します。
I knew she'd still be asleep, but it'd feel weird to enter the room without a word. The woman in white is sleeping just like she was when I left. It's like she barely moved. She doesn't look the slightest bit threatening in her sleep. If I didn't know any better, I'd say she looked like the princess of some foreign country. I've avoided the sofa long enough. Even though I know I might not get back up again, I take a seat. After all, the sofa's the only place in the room that has a good overview of both the bed and the door. Until you fall asleep, that is. It is just as ridiculously comfortable as I anticipated. Its fluffy cushions call to me. I feel like I might just melt into them, but I stop myself. I'm supposed to stand guard, so I can't fall asleep now. Even from here, she's almost nightmarishly beautiful. Her smooth pale skin, her slender fingers, each one a piece of fine art. The soft curves of her body. Every last detail of her body is without equal, and when put together, the composition is flawless. I've never seen a figure so sublime. No, that's not right. In all my life, I thought I'd never see one. I let out a long sigh as I look up at the ceiling. For all that talk about being a vampire and coming back from the dead, Arkwright is a living creature, one that looks and talks just like a human. And the fact that she's too weak to even get up on her own is all my fault.
自分でしでかしたことの責任は自分で取らないとな。
I think back to what I was taught in my younger days. It was Master who told me. Because my eyes are so unusual, they may attract other unusual things. It's about time for me to pull myself together. For now, I need to keep my promise. Tonight at least, I'll protect her in whatever way I... White. I open my eyes to the color white. The color pulls an old memory from the recesses of my mind. A hot summer day. Huge fluffy clouds cover the blue sky. The air shimmers with heat, and the keening of cicadas eats at me. The cries of the cicadas. My hands are glistening with red liquid, as if they were dipped in paint. Cicada husks are scattered around. It feels as if the beating sun is right on top of us, burning, sizzling, scorching the clearing. A hot midsummer day. It's as if the world has warped into one massive frying pan. Oh, is that Akiya crying? Oh, yeah. Akiya is crying. Akiya, who's always following after me, is weeping into her hands. A child is on the ground next to her. The sunlight plays over my slick, wet hands. Yes, my hands are cold. The other child is cold. The red blood painting our world is warm.
Shiki.
The adults are here. The other child is dead. The adults are yelling. They scream, asking whether I killed him. A dream forgotten even within a dream.
Shiki, ほら、目を覚まして。もう日が落ちちゃってるじゃない。
My body is violently shaken from its slumber. A cold hand grips my shoulder as an unfamiliar voice calls to me. Arkwright stands in front of me. The world outside the window is dark. When I glance at the clock, I realize it's already past 8.
あれじゃないわ。日が沈んだら起こしてって言ったのに、仕切ったら眠ってるんだもん。
悪い。寝てたのか、俺。
I'm such a mess. To think I'd fall asleep while watching over her.
もうそんなんじゃ護衛失格よ。二人とも眠っていたなんて、襲われていたら私もシキも死んでたところよ。
だから悪いって言ってるだろ。でもほら、昼間は安全だって言ったのはお前じゃないか。
絶対とは言い切れないわ。朝みたいに使い魔がやってくることだってあるんだから。
Arcwade's mad. Of course, she has every right to be. A guard who falls asleep during his watch is no more useful than a scarecrow.
それにね、私だって吸血鬼なんだよ、シキ。なのにどうして身の危険とか感じないで眠っちゃったりできるのかな。少しは緊張して眠れないとか、恐れ敬うとか、そういう反応してもいいんじゃない？
I take back my apology. She seems more upset at the fact I wasn't too terrified to fall asleep near her than my failure as a guard.
体も少しは動くようになって目を覚ましてみれば、仕切ったら幸せそうに眠ってるじゃない。あんまりにも無防備だから、吸血種として威厳がないのかなって本気で不安になったんだから。
なんだよ、無防備なのはそっちだって同じだろ。俺だって一度はお前を殺してるんだぞ。今回だってそうしないとは限らないのに、お姫様みたいにグースか寝やがって。人間だからって甘く見るなよな。
He's not wrong. I'm surprised he didn't have that urge again. I bite back at her, like a trapped mouse squeaking at a cat. It's really just a bitter attempt to save face, and yet... Arcwade falls silent, apparently only just having realized she's rooming with her murderer.
そういえばそうよね。なんでだろう。なんとなくね、路地裏でシキと話しているうちに信用しきってたみたい。
Yeah, it's a little weird. Well, it's not like she has any bad intentions.
そうか。そこまで信用されてるなら、それなりに努力はする。あとはずっと見張っていればいいのか？
ええ、とりあえず朝日が昇るまでね。私は部屋から出ないから、シキは誰かがこのフロアにやってくるようだったら用心して。
Easier said than done. If something like that panther shows up again, I'm not sure what I'd be able to do about it. I'm way out of my league here. I can't exactly do my job as a bodyguard without knowing what I'm up against first. It might be best if I continue where we left off last time. Panthers and burning zombies aside, I still know pretty much nothing about Arcwade or who she's hunting.
確認するぞ、アルクエイド。路地裏で襲ってきた奴らは、お前の敵が差し向けたやつなのか？
差し向けたというより巡回ね。一定のルートで街を監視するのがあいつらの役割だったんでしょう。その巡回ルートで私とシキが話し込んでいたから、結果的に私がいるってバレちゃったみたい。
バレちゃったって、お前の敵に？
そう、体調が万全なら手間が省けてよかったんだけど、今の私じゃ逆に倒されかねない。だからシキと一緒にここまで逃げたの。体力が戻る前に襲われたら撃つ手はないから。
Arcwade's enemy is the serial killer that's been terrorizing this town. Another vampire. From the sound of it, the vampire is after Arcwade as well. Though they don't seem to be on a level playing field right now. Arcwade's still extremely weak.
そして、敵とやらには手足になる部下がいて、お前には誰もいないと。
Arcwade pouts and puts her shoulders up in a huff. She isn't refuting it. That must mean she really is alone. Well, I guess that makes it easier for me.
お前、さっき吸血鬼はそれぞれ個体差があるって言ってたけど、 これはそういう話なんだろ。じゃあ仲間がたくさんいる吸血鬼ってのはどんなやつなんだ？
それはどうすれば簡単に説明できるかな。
Arcwade's eyes wander over the ceiling as she thinks. It doesn't feel like she's used to conversation.
いいよ、難しいままで。話せることなら何でもいいから話してくれ。俺も訳がわからないけど、なんとか話の筋を見極めるから。
そう、ありがとうシキ。
はいはい、お礼はいいから続けてくれ。
Arcwade nods earnestly.
仲間がたくさんいると言っても何パターンかあるんだけど、この町に潜んでいる人は古いタイプの吸血鬼よ。教会風に言うなら上司の吸血鬼ね。
Where the hell did she get a whiteboard?
この上司は段階に分けて村や町を侵していくわ。まずは初手、進行1。能力的に優れた人間を見繕ってその血を吸ってしもべにする。吸血鬼に血を吸われた人間は死んで上司の操り人形になるけど、人間だった頃のパーソナリティも残している。要は人格の残った死体ね。使徒の改定で言うと3段階目の上級の使い魔ってところ。
Right off the bat, there's a bunch of stuff I don't understand. But at least my mind's feeling a lot clearer after that nap. I'm just gonna skip past all the terminology I didn't understand and go straight to the few words I did.
人格の残った死体。要は人間のまま吸血鬼になるってこと？
3回転じゃ吸血鬼とは言えないかな。人間以上の体になったけどまだ子を作ることはできない働きありの司令塔ぐらいと思って。
じゃあ路地裏で出てきたやつらは？
あれはもう一個下、2回転目の式。人間への擬態もできない命じられたことをこなすだけの労働力よ。
Getting a little carried away with her explanation, Arcwade has gone and outlined different types of vampires on the board. She's surprisingly multi-talented.
都市の人間をある程度の数しもべにした上司は棺を用意して眠りにつく。日中は活動できないし、何より上司の吸血鬼は活動するだけで目立つから、食料の備蓄、勢力拡大はしもべたちに任せるの。かくして3階艇より上のしもべたちは人間に期待して少しずつ他の人間たちを捕食していく。人間の血肉はしもべたちの活動源にもなるけど、その大半は上司に送られる。上司は棺で眠ったまま力を蓄え、最後にはコミュニティごと自分の血肉に変えてしまう。これがこの町に潜んでいるものの特性よ。今はまだしもべの数が少ないから大した能力はないんだけど、犠牲者が増えれば増えた分だけ上司の力は増していく。その前に棺を見つけて倒してしまえばいいんだけど、私はまだ敵の寝床さえ見つけられていない。今回はよっぽど巧妙に隠れてるのか気配さえ感じない。寝床を見つけちゃえば片付けるのは簡単なんだけどね。今回は手がかりがない状態だから仕方なく昼間から街を歩いて調べていたの。 そうしていたら通りすがりの殺人鬼に襲われちゃって、まあ大変。
Looking a bit too cheerful about that. Arkway claps her hands together and punctuates her sentence with a bright smile. Uh-huh. That's me she's talking about. I swallow uncomfortably.
なるほど。とりあえず話は見えてきた。この町には人間を食い物にする化け物が救っていて、アルクエイドはそれを退治しに来た。けどそいつの居場所を探している時に、俺にやられちまって、今は弱っているから回復するまで隠れてる。そういうことか。
うん、簡単にまとめるとそういうことかな。
じゃあ次、その敵とやらは何だってそんな回りくどいことをするんだ。しもべなんか作らずに全部一人でやればいいじゃないか。
単純に弱いからよ。どれほどの懲罰能力、どれほどのライフスケールを持った吸血鬼でも一人では生きられない。弱点が多い彼らは決して表舞台に長居はしない。だから脆弱だけど弱点の少ない人間を使い魔にして安全圏から血を集める。言ってしまうとリスク回避ね。
弱点が多いね。具体的には？
日の光、魔力枯渇が主だけど、最大の弱点はそうね、敵が多いということかしら。
敵が多い？それはお前みたいな。
I wouldn't really consider that a weakness, but...
私は例外というか特例よ。吸血鬼はね、人間に嫌われているの。人間の最大の武器は数と共有でしょ。いるのよ、世界には吸血鬼が事件を起こせば駆けつけてくる吸血鬼を殺すことだけを目的とした人間が。特に陰湿で執念深いのが教会。西欧を中心にした宗教の異端狩り。主の意志を人の手で代行するなんてお題目から代行者と呼ばれているわ。もう何百年も使徒を殺す技術を磨いてきた人間たちでね、こいつらは下手な吸血鬼より厄介よ。だから吸血鬼は一旦隠れるの。いちいち相手をしていたら血も集まらないし、何より封印される危険性があるから。
Hunters sent by a church. Sounds like the Inquisitions and witch hunts of the Middle Ages. They must be incredible specialists to make even vampires hide and cower in fear. But something still has me scratching my head.
一旦隠れる。つまり血をたくさん集めてしまえば隠れる必要はない。